Welcome back. In this video, we're going to make a few more changes to some of our exterior walls in our Revit residential template. Last time we did the basic exterior wall. This next change I want to make is to make a 2x6 version of this same wall, and select Edit Type, Duplicate. We're going to rename it. I want to take the 2 off of it here and change the 2x4 to a 2x6 and say OK. Now we have our duplicate wall with a new name. I want to edit the structure. The only change that I want to make from the last one is to make this stud a 2x6 at 5.5 inches rather than a 2x4. Click OK. OK. We're finished with that, and now we have our first two basic exterior walls, 2x4, 2x6, with OSB and wrap. I want you to select the footing. We want to make just one minor change to that. In the structure here, the sample height, let's just go ahead and change that to 1 foot. And on the thickness of the footing, let's change that also to 1 foot and say OK. OK. The next thing I want to do is go into this exterior brick on wood stud wall. We'll leave the name the same under our structure. Let's get rid of the, no, let's not get rid of anything. Let's change this interior, this thermal pocket of air to 0.5 as a 1/2 inch. And let's change the plywood, the substrate here from plywood sheathing to OSB. Right there. And change the dimension of that to 7/16. And slide on down a little bit. We want to put this on a basic 2x4 wall instead of a 2x6. So we'll change that to 3.5. I don't want this vapor barrier membrane on the inside. I just want the 1/2 inch sheetrock. That's complete. Okay. You can see how the size of that wall has changed a little bit. The next one is the wood shingle on wood stud. You're going to make very similar changes to that. I'll do that as I pause the video and show you what the looks like when I'm finished. So on this wall, I've changed the sample height to 9 foot 1 1/8. I've changed the substrate to oriented strand board at 7/16. I've changed the stud to a 2x4 stud at 3.5, and I want to get rid of this vapor membrane. Save this. And the next wall we want to change is the wood shingle over wood siding on wood stud. I have never done a wall like that when I was building. I'm kind of clueless as to what that is. So we're going to change this to a stucco wall. So we can click rename, and we're just going to change it to exterior stucco on wood wall. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do is edit our structure. We're going to change the sample height to 9 foot 1 1/8, and we're going to delete one of these finished surfaces and change our other one to stucco masonry. So let's get rid of the and it's not letting me do that. Let me pause and figure this out. Well, it's not letting me select either of these two finished layers and delete them. So I've decided I'm just going to work with what I have. This very outside layer of material is what we'll use for our final synthetic stucco coat, and we'll modify that here in just a moment. I'm just going to click OK and see what happens. It's not letting me go in and change the thickness of this, and I'm not sure why that is. So I'm going to try to figure that out by, let's save it, go back into edit. We still don't have the ability to change that, and I don't know why that is. So we'll cancel here, and I'm going to pause while I figure out what we need to do to punt on this one. Okay, cool. I drew a wall and decided to take a 3D look at it, and I discovered that what we have here makes the definition of the wall logical. It's wood shingle over wood siding on a wood stud wall, and we might use that. So we're going to leave this one alone. The one thing we're going to do on the type here, as far as the editing goes, is we're going to change the outside substrate to 7/16 inch OSB, and we're going to change the stud to 3.5. So on this wall, change the sample height to 9 foot 1 1/8, change the substrate to OSB 7/16 inch, change the core structure to a 2x4 at 3.5 inches, and delete this vapor membrane, and we'll save that now. We're going to create a stucco wall, and I'll just go ahead and do that in the next video to create a wall from scratch. Say OK there. The last wall that we want to change here is the wood siding on wood stud. Let's edit that type. And we'll want to make the similar changes. I'll pause while I do that and show you what's been done. I've changed the sample height to 9 foot 1 1/8. I've changed the substrate to OSB at 7/16 inches, the stud at 3.5 inches, and I've left just the gypsum without the vapor barrier on the inside, and we're ready to save that. I want you to, I'm going to go ahead and delete the wall that I drew here. I'm just going to highlight that and indicate delete. We'll be drawing a structure in this template a little bit later on through this series of lessons. And we'll pick up with the next lesson on the creation of the stucco wall that we'll be using in some of our models. So we're going to set that up with a template. See you next time.